welcome to the 17th episode of the Knitting Spring podcast. My name's Tonya. I'll be your host. I'm coming to you from Manhattan, New York, if you haven't seen my show before, if you're new. This is a mainly knitting podcast, and I'm going to share a little bit about my works in progress and my recent visit to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival in Maryland. My back. I had a bit of a rough day today. I was in quite a bit of pain. I did see my doctor. I've had an MRI, and I definitely have a herniated disc. It's pretty severe. I'm continuing on medication, and we're going from there. So I'm just taking it day by day, and limiting exercise, and I'm on medications, and there's difficulty with side effects, etc. from that, but it's getting there. I'm getting the help and the care that I need, so that's all I can do for right now. But let's get started. I have a lot to talk about, and let's start with first of all, you can find me as Cheeky Monkey on Ravelry, Cheeky Monkey 1 on Instagram. All the show notes can be found at knittingspring.com. I am Tonya on Goodreads, and I think that's about it. And if you're watching this, it's either on my website, knittingspring.com, or on YouTube. All right, let's start with my sweater. I'm making progress. This is in my Mina Makes sweater bag. It's absolutely beautiful and perfect for a sweater. I've made a good bit of progress since I've last seen you. And let's see here. You can see I've made where the stitch marker is. And you can see where I've tried it on and stopped and measured. I am knitting this 3.5 inches longer than the pattern calls for. So I have about another 1.5 inches left to go before I start the ribbing, and I'll be done with the body. But I don't know if you can see, she has a really pretty, it's hard to see because it's black, but it's a really pretty ribbing detail up here. And I've tried it on, it fits perfectly. There's not a lot of gap like on this sweater. It fits just like this. There's not a lot of gap in the underarms. Fits my body really well. And sorry, I'm a little feverish today from the pain, so I apologize. The yarn I'm using is Miss Babs Yowza Obsidian. It is definitely black. I am getting a little bit of transfer of the dye on my hands from the first skein, so I have citric acid, and once I finish knitting the entire sweater, then I will soak it in citric acid and then do a rinse and then lay it flat to dry. I don't have a lot to shape or do anything with this. It fits wonderful as it is. I know this will grow a little bit because it's superwash yarn, but for me, the longer is better. If a sweater's too short, I will never wear it. So if it's a little long, that's fine with me. And then there's ease in this sweater, but it's not a ton. This will not be a baggy sweater, which is perfect for me. I'll wear it a lot to work. This will definitely be a go-to sweater, and I would definitely knit this pattern again in other colors. I really, really like how Alicia Plummer wrote this pattern. It's just, it's simple, and honestly, this is really what I've needed to work on because it's just stockinette, and I haven't had a lot of brain power with the medication I'm on, and so it's been nice to have gotten through up here, and then the sleeves will be the same. There's just a little bit of ribbing, and it's just stockinette. So this has been a really good time for me to be knitting this sweater. The pattern calls for a size 7, I believe, and I went down a needle size. I typically go down 1 or 2 needle sizes when I knit. And the needles are the Chow Goose. I love Chow Goo needles. I knit most of my things out of Chow Goose. Excuse me. If I don't use Chow Goose, then I use Addy Sock Rockets or just the Addy Turbo needles. Some people don't like the bluntness. Sometimes that can be a little bit of a negative for me, but the needles are nice. And the one thing that I like about those needles and these is that the joint is really nice. The yarn just slips from the cable right onto the needle, and I don't get that sticking motion. There's nothing to catch it. And then when I was down in the DC, Maryland area, I picked up a couple of high sharps. I've really been wanting to try those, so I picked up a couple of those, and I'll show you those when I talk about Maryland sheep and wool. So really enjoyable pattern. I highly recommend it. It fits well. The pattern's well written. And I had a couple questions for Alicia. She got right back to me. She's been wonderful answering questions, and she was quick to respond. So I don't think she watches this, but Alicia, you've written a wonderful pattern. Okay. The second whip I have is I took this with me to Maryland Sheep and Wool. I took a few things with me, but I have a lot to talk about for Maryland Sheep and Wool, so I'm just showing things that I've put a lot of progress in this episode. This is my Yowza Weighted Shawl number 4, and this is also a Miss Babs in the beautiful Dreamer colorway. And I haven't knit on this since that weekend, but I did get a little bit of time when I was in the car and the train and this and that. I was pretty busy that weekend. So it's just garter, and the yarn's beautiful, super soft, no dye transfer on this one. I just think it's the black. But I didn't get transfer on the second ball of black I used for the Yowza. It could have just been that one skein. You never know. But the second ball that I started on for the Yowza Obsidian, there's been no transfer of dye on that, and there's definitely been, I've never had any transfer of dye on any Miss Babs yarns. That was the only one, but it happens on some yarns. So that's that, and I'm almost finished with this. So I'm almost to the point where I stop knitting on the garter and I go to the next section, and I have quite a bit left. So I have a little bit to go. That's how much yarn I have left. And then, I don't know if you can see, well, this is all in there. It's working. But this, well, you can't really see, but this is the picture that comes. I'm really excited about it. This is going to be a really squishy, comfortable, warm shawl for next fall. And if I have it done when I go Traverse City, I might even be wearing it there because it seems like it's going to be a little cool when I go there. It's been quite cool here in New York. This weekend it went down to the 40s. I think one day it only got to 45 as the high. So that's really unusual for May. Mays can be cool, but it's maybe like in the 50s. 40s is very unusual since I've been living here, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, and 40s is pretty cool for May around here. And then the next project I have on the needles, oh, I don't have a picture, hold on. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. There are a couple of women in my office that are having babies, so I thought I would knit up a couple quick hats for them. And so I got, when I was down in Maryland, this is technically an acquisition, but I've already started this. I got Debbie Bliss Baby Cash Merino, and I got it in gray because one's having a boy and the other one doesn't know what she's going to have, and I think gray is like the perfect neutral, and it'll go with anything. And then I'm making 6 to 12 month size, which I think is good because you never know with kids. They grow at such different rates, and babies just have lovely big heads, and they're just so adorable. But I am knitting the, it's Ludmilla Knit Designs, and it is the Straight Arrow hat. So far, I'm really enjoying it. The reason I chose it is that it has a little bit of interest. Like there's a little bit of cabling that goes up the center of the front, and the rest is stockinette. I didn't want to just do a plain stockinette for a gift, so that's why I chose it. It's has enough interest to be decorative and neutral enough if it's a girl or a boy, and but there's some stockinette to give it some relief, so you're not doing cables all the way around. So I just cast on yesterday, so this is just little itty bitty, and I don't even know what needles these are. I've had these forever, but these are the kind that I really don't like. But these are just threes that I had, and I couldn't find any other threes to knit with, and that's the gauge I got. But you can see there's this metal where it joins to the wood. It's this a hat's quick enough that it won't bother me. I couldn't do a whole sweater like that, but it's enjoyable so far. And then I have this in my Lavender Hill project bag. This lovely thing. I love it. I love the fabric so much. And it's perfect because it holds these little baby 50-gram balls of yarn, and the hat's little, and these little needles, and the pattern and everything. Well, the pattern's going in there now, but I had to pause to look for it, and it was right in front of me. So that's it for whips. I have other things I've done, but not much progress on those. So yeah. All right, let's see. And then I'm going to announce the indie along winner this episode as well. I'll do that in a little bit. I have the winner over there. So when I pause to get my acquisitions together, I'll get that, and I'll announce that before I go through acquisitions. I did go through, when I was shopping at Maryland Sheep and Wool, I did have a plan. I told you a couple things I'd really like to cast on next is the little short sleeve cardigan. I found yarn for that. I really want to get this shawl off the needles to do in a gleam, and I found yarn for that. And then I got beads to work on the Wildesmeer shawl by Kristen. So I have a lot that I really want to get on needles. So I'm trying to truck on these two things so I can at least get another shawl and sweater done. All right, I'm going to pause, gather my things from Maryland Sheep and Wool, and we'll dive into that, and I'll do the giveaway first. Okay, so the winner of the Miss Babs knit along, the indie along I did for the months of March and April, is L. Bergeron. Please contact me. Congratulations. She knit a wonderful, looking at her shawl in Miss Babs Missouri Tart. And congratulations. I'm so excited for you. And you won, lucky girl or boy, I'm not sure. I think it's a woman though. This Mina Makes bag. It's got this lovely, like, I see it as tropical print with little flip-flops and stuff going on the side. And then the inside is this really pretty graphic orange fabric. And I think it looks like rattan shades in like a cabana or something. That's what I see. I love this bag. So contact me, and also I will be sending you Mina's, her Highland Peak shawl. Couldn't think. So El Bergeron, number 6 in the India Long. Please give me a shout on Ravelry, and I'm Cheeky Monkey. And I'll get this sent off to you, and I'll send you the pattern as well. So congratulations again. All right, so Maryland Sheep and Wool. I left Thursday afternoon, Thursday after work. I took the train down to DC, and I went to Union Station, and my godmother picked me up, and we went back and we chatted, and had a lovely evening. She has a wonderful home, and it's always so welcoming and everything there. And her husband David is just he's just a doll. So I had a great weekend. On Friday, we did go to Fiberspace, and this little, like, I called it a little speakeasy. It was I think Aileen's yarn shop, but it's in the shopping center, and you have to like go down a little like sideway, go in a side door, take the elevator, go up, and then go down a hall, and then you find her yarn shop. So I got a few things. I have a big bag here to go through. Let me just go through it because I don't have this organized by day. So we went to Fiberspace, which is an amazing yarn shop. It's beautiful. The woman who waited on me was just so knowledgeable and chatty in a good way. Like, she was very friendly and knowledgeable, and we talked about Maryland sheep and wool the next day, and very helpful. All the women were there. They had a hazelnuts trunk show and a Miss Babs trunk show at the store on that Friday. So I did pick up a skein of Miss Babs because I knew what her booth would be like at from Rhinebeck at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I was right. And then after that, we grabbed some coffee, chatted, went back to the house and got ready, and we saw a play in Shirling Village, which I'd never been to before. And it's just a little town center, maybe 10 minutes from where they live, and really great play. It's the first play that I laughed so hard, and it was the title was Mysteries of Sex and Love, I believe. I'll put it in the show notes, but it was so well done. The actors were fantastic. I am not a big Broadway or play fan, but I thoroughly enjoyed this play. The theme was friendship, and it really explored the relationship between this man and woman. Really well done. The acting was great. The storyline was great. It was funny. I mean, there were just some points you had to laugh out loud. It was hilarious. So very good. If it comes around to your town or anywhere near you, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then we had a few drinks afterwards, and then we went home and got to bed, got up early, got to Maryland Sheep and Wool at about 8 o'clock in the morning, which was so good to do. There was already traffic lining up to get in. We got a good place to park. We walked in, started walking around. Some of the vendors had opened early, and it wasn't that crowded then. I mean, there were some people there milling around, etc., but it was nice. For the first hour, there was a line at Jenny the Potter. There was a line already at Miss Babs, but for the most part, you could really go in, walk in and out, and not worry about running into people. So it was really nice. And we went through a couple barns then. Then we stopped, had some coffee and breakfast. We took our time. We really did. We really paced it out and didn't rush through anything. Went back through a couple more barns, and then and saw some more vendors. And of course, I'm like picking things up along the way. I was really good at Maryland Sheep and Wool. Not so good at the Knot House, but really good at Maryland Sheep and Wool. I was very selective. I knew what I was looking for. I knew that I already had a bunch of Miss Babs from Rhinebeck and other things in my stash, so I wasn't worried about getting anything there, but I did get a skein that I was looking for at Fiberspace. We went over and watched the sheepdog trials for a little bit. I really enjoyed that. We didn't stay too long because there's people along the fence around. It was hard to see. But we did see that. My godmother has a Sheltie, and so it was fun to see like the sheepdogs. They weren't Shelties though. They were the black and white. They weren't the Australian sheepdogs. It was another collie, a border collies, I believe. I believe it was border collies they had. And then from there, by the time we did that, it was about lunchtime, around 11 o'clock. I typically don't wait until noon to go. I usually try to go to lunch earlier. So we grabbed some lunch, found a spot. Can't believe we found a spot to sit down. and grabbed some lunch, chat a little bit more. Then we did like another lap around one last barn that we hadn't gotten to. And then we went and saw the animal barns, which was nice. There were Lincolnshire sheep that were enormous. Absolutely enormous. They were as big as those really big pigs get. I guess I didn't see them at Rhinebeck, but these sheep were huge. I mean, absolutely huge. Maybe I'm just used to seeing sheep from afar and they don't look that big, but I couldn't believe how big they were. I mean, they were at least up to my waist. I'm 5'7", so that's at least 3 feet, if not higher, because I think here at my chest is 4 feet. So they were enormous. They were just the biggest sheep. And then they were like getting them ready to show. They weren't sharing them yet. They were getting ready to show them in the ring. And we watched a little bit of that. And by that time, we were pretty muddy. It was very muddy there because of all the rain that week. April's just been a douser of rain here on the East Coast. So I know DC area is getting a lot of rain. Us in New York is getting a lot of rain. And it rained the whole week before Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it rained the day before. So it was pretty muddy at Maryland Sheep and Wool. If you stayed on the pavement, if you're on that main road, you would be fine. But if you wanted to go to any other vendors or the barns or anything, there was no way to avoid it. And it wasn't so bad that you were sinking in the mud, but there was no way you weren't getting muddy. So luckily, I mean, I wore shoes that could be put in the wash, so I knew that. And then we left about noon. So I didn't make it to the podcaster meetup, but we had plans that evening for dinner, and I definitely wanted to make it out to the Knot House. So that was a half an hour away, and then I figured I'd be there for about time, and then it's another hour back to the DC area from Frederick, Maryland. So, and we didn't want to rush back, have to change clothes, and then immediately run out the door. And I didn't want to do that to my godmother. So we were able to go home and sit for a little bit and then go to dinner. So after Maryland Sheep and Wool, we drove out to Frederick, Maryland to the Knot House, which was another wonderful shop. If you are ever in the DC area, I highly recommend the trip out to the Knot House in Frederick. Frederick is a charming little village. There's some wonderful restaurants there. Beautiful yarn shop, the Knot House. The owners there are lovely. I got to meet the dyer Magpie was there. I got to talk to her. And then they just had a plethora of yarns. And I'll go through it and talk about that with the yarns. And then after the Knot House, we drove back, had some dinner, and then just spent the evening together. It was really nice. And then on Sunday, my godmother and I just sat and knit, and it was great because was a casual knitter like me. And she said she learned a lot of tips and tricks from me, and I opened up to her a whole new world of knitting, and I got her on Ravelry and, talked about some indie dyers and things, and I helped her with her vest she's working on, and I got her situated with that, and I brought her down a little gift bag. So I got her a bag from Naughty Gnome. I forgot to take a picture. I was so busy and excited, and I totally forgot to take a picture, but I got her a bag from Naughty Gnome, which was this really beautiful floral fabric. And then I gave her a yarn from Kristen from Wool and Vine, because I figured everybody needs to have some Wool and Vine. And then just some little notions and little things, like a little tin to put her stitch markers, and forget what else I put in there. There were a couple other things in there that I put in her. So I gave her a nice little hostess gift, and she really loved it. She absolutely loved it. And she was even more impressed by it after she went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and she'd never been to a festival before, and we decided we think we're going to make this an annual event, to something to do together. And she really enjoyed knitting and talking, and I just had a lovely, refreshing weekend. And I was sitting there and knitting, and I just thought how wonderful how great the people are that are in my life. So it was a really great weekend. We had a wonderful time. We so enjoyed each other's company. And yeah, I can't say more about what a great weekend it was. And there was yarn and knitting involved. So, just icing on the cake. All right, so let's get to the acquisitions. I'll try to go through this somewhat. Well, this is actually one of the first things I bought. I love knee socks. I wear two types of socks. I either wear petty socks or knee socks. So I knit a little bit larger pair of socks, but most of the socks I'll probably be knitting for myself are petty socks. I don't wear socks at all in the summertime. And then when I wear socks for work, unless it's really cold, they're petty socks. But I got these. They're non-matching socks, but they're really soft and really stretchy, and they are called Soulmate socks. And I got the medium size, and I don't know if they have a website. I got it from Deli's Delights Farm is the vendor who I got them from, and they're called the Raspberry Knee Socks. And it says small celebrations in everyday life, breakfast in bed, the sound of the ocean, warm chocolate chip cookies, a good book, and of course mismatched socks. So, beautiful socks. I couldn't pass them up. They're just adorable. And then, let's see. This was another Maryland Sheep and Wool at the festival. She is a new dyer to me. I loved her yarn. I loved her booth. I'd never heard of her before. And she's called Tempting You Yarns. And this yarn is just so soft. It's beautiful. I had a really hard time choosing just one skeiny yarn. Like I said, I was very restrained at Maryland Sheep and Wool. And this is called Cottage by the Sea, You So Happy Sock. It's 90-10 superwash merino nylon, 480 yards, 125 grams. And I don't know how well her logo will show up, but Tempting You Yarns. Beautiful colorway. It's this like gray background with these beautiful speckled greens and lavenders and grays. I just thought it was lovely. I really liked that a lot. And then also there, I got, sorry, I'm trying to go a little bit in order here. I found Boho Chic Fiber. Now, I've had her as a person of interest, and I follow her on Instagram, Boho Chic Fiber. And she's from just south of Detroit in Michigan, and she was darling, absolutely darling. She had some hand spun there as well, and I really liked. I thought I bought 3 of these, but I only bought 2. I'm really kind of upset with myself because I thought this would make a great. I'm gonna have to go to her website. Great short sleeve sweater. It's her Bliss fingering. It's 60% superwash merino, 20% yak, 20% silk, 100 grams, 400 yards, and her name is Annie Lupton. And the color of this is Cloud. But it is just beautiful yarn. Beautiful. And I've never had yarn, I believe, that I've had yak in. And this would just be absolutely a luxurious sweater. Just absolutely beautiful. Really, really like this a lot. And this is Boho Chic Fibers. Really liked her booth. It was really cute. She had this like teal set up there, and it looked really cottagey. It was really, really cute. And then what else did I get at Maryland? Is that it? Oh, no. So I also picked up, and let me look and see. I have everything here. Everything. So another couple things that I got there were some pins. I love brooches, and anytime I can find something, and I love, because I wear a lot of black sweaters, so one of the things I like to do is put a pin on, and that sort of, gives it some, decoration, some life to it. So I got this kimono pin, and I got this from, gosh, who did I get this from? I think I got this from, the receipt doesn't even say. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, it just says Shawnee Holmberg, Laurel, Maryland. But Really like that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Really cute. It's purple, of course. And I can't wait to wear it. I haven't worn anything yet because I've been saving everything to show you guys. And then I got this Knitting in Progress pin. I really like that. And this was from a Bountiful Farm. And they're out of Palmyra, Pennsylvania. But, you know, it's super cute. I can't wait to wear it. I really can't wait to wear this. I'm going to wear one of these tomorrow to work. And then I got, and I can't, oh, here it is. Okay, I thought I lost it. I found these. Now, these were pricey. These are Indian Lake Artisan needles. And I got a size 4 3.50 millimeter maple 32-inch circular needles. Now, they're wood and they have a join, but let me tell you, there's no catching on this. I was skeptical. I talked to the guy. They're hexagonal needles. And I don't know how well this is going to show up on screen. But they're hexagonal needles. And he had them out there to try. And I'm not a big wood needle person. I usually tend to go towards metal needles. But these were so delightful. And the cable, if you like, I don't know, depending on, everybody has a different preference, but these are a really flexible cable. The join from the metal and the cable to the wood is so minimal. I can't believe it. I haven't found a join like this. There's a little bit of a itsy bitsy catch on this one. On this needle right here, there isn't one. I can't find a catch anywhere. That yarn is just going to slide. And then when I was trying it out, and he said try to increase with this, and increasing with this hexagonal needle with the little ridges really did make it easier. It gave you a place to put your needle in to do it. Maybe that's why people like the cubics. I never tried cubics, but this makes me curious to try those. I didn't think I'd like something that wasn't round. I thought it would feel too geometric or hard. Like, you know, the round is just comfortable because it doesn't matter where you put your hands, it's always round. But these are comfortable, and I got a 4. That's what I typically knit my sweaters in, is a 4. So I'm really excited to try a project out on these. Really excited. These are the Indian Lake Artisan needles, and they're not inexpensive, but I highly recommend trying them and checking them out. I can only say that's the most I've ever spent for needles, but they were worth it. They are really, really well made, and they're very interesting. That's one of my another favorite purchase from Maryland Sheep and Wool was those needles. What else did I get when I was there? Let me see. I think that might be it for the festival. Sorry, I have a bunch of stuff in here. I'm just digging through my bag of goodies here. And yeah, so let's talk fiber space. As I said, they had hazelnuts there, and they had Miss Babs. And I particularly picked out this skein of Miss Babs because I've been wanting it for a really long time. I've been looking for it looking at it online. And this is Surprise, and this is in the Yummy 3-ply. And I really, really like these colors. You'll see there's a theme of blue in my weekend. So I got this, and it's really nice. They also had hazelnuts there. This yarn is dreamy. Absolutely dreamy. I thought originally I was going to make my cardigan out of this, but I found a better teal that I think will work better for this. And I'm going to use this as my another short sleeve sweater because I got 3 of these. And that's all I need for a short sleeve sweater. I know that for sure. It doesn't matter what it is, but this is 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% silk. It's the color's called Atmosphere, And this is on, I guess it's Divine, Luxury Fingering, Divine. So hazelnuts, Divine. And I'll put all this in the show notes. I'm going to sit and type stuff up for this. But, oh, is this just luxurious. I found some really skin-happy yarn. I mean, I haven't purchased anything because I have so much stuff I want to cast on with this. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible, the finds I found at Maryland Sheep and Wool. And then they had some wool folk there, and Jacqueline from the Brooklyn Knit Folks, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because I'm wearing black, has talked about wool folk, and she is so right. So I got 2 skeins, and they're small skeins. That's all I could find, and they had it in black, and I couldn't pass it up, and it is just absolutely phenomenal. It's the base is called Tynd, Tynd, and it's creative color number 15, but it's 223 yards, 50 grams, and I bought 2 of these, and I figured I could find a shawl or scarf or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but it is just wonderful. I don't even know what it's made out of. I guess it's just 100% wool. It doesn't usually says. I can't find the fiber content. But wool folk in the Tynd, I'm sure it's on the website. So another great buy. And then I also got, I love Hannah Fettig, and they had the Home and Away book there, so I purchased this, and just beautiful, beautiful patterns in here. And I know I don't think I've ever knit anything by Hannah Fettig, I don't think. I know I have 2 things queued, her lightweight pullover and the featherweight cardigan, but I haven't knit those yet. But this book is just absolutely beautiful. If you see it and you're a Hannah Fettig fan, I highly recommend it. All of her, she has a lot of classic things in here, and quite a few things that I have queued already are in this book. So I got that. And then we went to Aileen's. And when I was at Aileen's, I was looking for cotton yarns. And while I was there, I found 2 things that I was really excited about. I found 2 sweater patterns that I had never seen before. So let me try to put that there so you can't see it. So this is, it's by Knit 1, Crochet 2, that cotton yarn that I knit all of my washcloths out. Well, they put this pattern in it. It's just wonderful. You have this panel in front that's knit regular, top to bottom, the thing, and then you have the panels on the side that are knit. So you knit this way, going this way to the side, and then you attach them. It's a gorgeous t-shirt. You make it out of cotton. I won't make it out of cotton. I'll make it out of some type of wool, but I really like this a lot. That was another pattern I found. And then I found this book of patterns by Fliatura di Crosa. And there were 2 patterns in here that I really liked. This Anna pullover. Really, really like that. You can't really tell, but there's some texture in there. And then, sorry, I'm trying to juggle everything here. And then there was another one that I really liked. I want to see if I can find it, show it to you guys. I don't know if they have a full picture of it. Oh, and then I liked this little t-shirt. I thought that could be really pretty. I like the little detail. It's different. It has a scoop neck, which I really like. So those are the 2 things. And so I found 3 patterns there. And then I also got a pair of US4 Haya Sharps. Now, I've never used these before. And I got a pair of size 4 because that's my most common needle size that I use. And I got 32 inches because I can be flexible. I can make anything with this and try it out. So I got the long needles on that. And then I got some cotton yarn. It's just called Cotton Supreme Batik by Universal Yarns, and blue. So this will become a couple of washcloths. I also got this Rowan All Seasons cotton washcloth. And did I get anything else there? I'm digging and looking, and I don't think so. I think that's all I got there. And then, all right, the big purchase was at the Knot House. Oh, no. Before I get to the Knot House stuff, let me clear off all the things that I've shown you so I don't get confused. Oops. I just hit something. I hope. No, I didn't stop recording. Okay. And then I also picked up this pair, these beads, of, at the bead store down from Fiber Space. We wandered down there, and I got 2 tubes of this sort of like tortoiseshell. I don't know if you guys can see these like tortoiseshell type beads. There's some gold and silver in there, pearl. And I thought this would be really pretty with the Fiber Company yarn. I think I'm going to use, or I don't know. I'm seriously leaning towards Dirty on Purpose. I keep going back and forth, so I don't know. But I bought some beads to go for my Ville de Mer shawl. All right. So I did good until I went to the Knot House, and then they had all my favorite designers there. They had Magpie, and this is the yarn I'm going to be using for my little fitted cardigan, the short sleeve. I think it's the Kate's Oat cardigan, the yellow one that I showed a couple times. Maybe I'll put that in again, so it'll refresh your guys' memory. This is there's her Swish Domestic. It's 100% superwash merino, 400 yards, and the color's Tide Pool. And this is Magpie. Absolutely beautiful color. It's coming off a little more blue on screen than it is. It's really a teal blue green, like if you've ever been that really teal blue green that you see in the Caribbean. That's what this is. And then she also had this absolutely luscious, talk about luscious yarn. Hot pink, of course. And this is her Posh Fingering. It's 50% superwash merino, 50% silk, 438 yards, 100 grams. And this one's called Shocking. And this one is called Stainless. And I thought these two would make a beautiful, beautiful shawl. 2-color shawl. I haven't picked the pattern out yet, but these are going to be a shawl. I felt them, and there was no way I could leave that store without these 2 skeins of yarn. Absolutely not. And then she had these little cute 200-yard skeins. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I love the color. You can see blue. And this one is called La Di Dodi Swish Domestic. And yeah, I just loved it. It was so cute. So I got that. Is that all Magpie? That's another Magpie. I think that's it for Magpie. And then I've been wanting Spun Right Round for so long. I could have gone through all of their colors, but I restrained myself, believe it or not. And so this is Spun Right Round. And it's a gray undertone with all these beautiful tealy blues and magenta purples, and there's a little bit of like sort of rust in there, which I find really interesting. Maybe rose. It's like a rose rust. Really beautiful. I think unusual with these 2 colors. And then this beautiful pops of speckles in there. And some like yellow. Just I loved it. And I really have been wanting to try her yarn for a really long time. I keep looking at her site. This is her superwash sock, 80/20 superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards, 400 grams, and the color is called chalkboard. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then I got two last, where's my other one? I thought I had another. Oh, there it is. It's right in front of me. Okay. Believe it or not, I'm getting close to the end. The last two things I got were Western Sky Knits. Big fan of theirs. And this one's called Motherlode. And this one's great because it's 600 yards. And I think the Gleam shawl costs about 500. So I can get the whole shawl out of this one skein. This is Aspen Silk. It's superwash merino silk, 80/20, 600 yards. And I think this is going to be a stunner. Absolute stunner. I love that silvery gray with that sort of bronzy speckles in there. It's just singing to me. And then the last thing I got was this one's called Patina. Told you, lots of blues this weekend. I guess I was in a blue mood. This is her Magnolia sock, 80/10/10, superwash merino, cashmere nylon, 378 yards, 100 grams. And then really interesting teal, a little bit different. All of them, believe it or not, all of them are slightly different from the other ones. They're not quite the same. This one has a little bit of speckles in it. This one's a little bit, I'd say this one's a little bit more gray teal blue. It doesn't look like it on the screen, but it's more subtle in person. Absolutely beautiful. I couldn't be happier. I think I've been through everything. Oh, I did get one thing. I got a little Progress Keeper. It's a glass bead, and this came from Shipyard Point Glassworks. I really wanted to stop by their booth. This was on my list, and it was a lamp work glass button, and this is a little Progress Keeper thing. I just really liked it. Oops, I don't know if you can see it. I think that's everything. If not, I've been sitting here forever talking to you guys. I thought that was really, really pretty. I love glass. Really like it a lot. So that was my weekend. And when I got home, I couldn't wait to look at everything. I've just been staring at this stuff, touching it. Can't wait to cast it all on. And what a great weekend. Maryland and Sheep and Wool was, I think, much more subdued than Rhinebeck. For me, Rhinebeck has a different energy. I think Maryland Sheep and Wool is much more laid back. Rhinebeck seems to be more intense. I don't know, maybe it's the time of year, maybe it's the place, maybe because it's so big and so many people go, but by no means was Maryland Sheep and Wool unattended. That entire field was packed with cars, packed. But I don't know, it has a different vibe. It was interesting to go to a different festival. What I'd really like to do next is go on a retreat. I would like to spend a weekend where I'm knitting and learning and talking to different knitters, exchanging ideas, learning from each other, teaching somebody something they don't know maybe. But yeah, I'd really like to go on a retreat. We'll see. That's definitely in the future, next year or the year after, something like that. But that is definitely on my knitting bucket list for sure. I know Ann Budd has started doing them. I would love to go to one of her retreats. There's so many great retreats out there. There's SSK. They're thinking about maybe going to Portland, which I would love to go to Portland. I've never been to Portland. It's on my list of places that I really want to visit. So whew, I have so many other things. I have all these things on here to talk to you guys about, but I feel like I have so much and went through so much with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed sitting with me, going through my rambles about Maryland sheep and wool. I did take some pictures. I have a little bit of video, so I'm going to put some stuff in at the end. Someone asked for some shots in New York, and I have some of that. There was a restaurant that I went to that was absolutely delectable. It was a gem of a restaurant, so I'm going to put that in the end. And thanks for sitting with me, guys, and I'll see you in a bit, and hope everybody is well, and I will see you soon.